Here at East Cobb Homestead. This is just a short little tutorial about how to prune your tomatoes. One of my dear friends, Tara, is growing some of our tomato plants on her back porch, and she's never pruned a tomato before, so I told her I'd make a video just for her. So this is also for everyone out there who doesn't know how important it is to prune their tomatoes or how to prune their tomatoes. So the first thing you need to understand is the difference between your stem, a branch, and what's called a sucker. I'm going to show you what those three things are. Second thing you need to understand is that sometimes your stem will split, and you have to watch for that. And we're going to look at all of that today in this video. Alright, so we've got three parts. We've got your stem that goes all the way down. You've got your branch right here. And then you've got something in between that branch and that stem, and that's called your sucker. Can everybody see what that is? Okay, that is what needs to come off. I've got one here and I've got one there. So those two need to come off. So sometimes you miss the sucker. So we have our stem right here, we have our branch, and this big huge thing that looks like a branch is not a branch. It's a sucker. See how big that is? Now this one right here, this big sucker that I just pulled off, you can plant. You can plant it straight down into some soil. You can put it in some water and let roots grow. But this can become a whole other tomato plant. So these suckers will grow at crazy rates. I just pruned my tomato plants last weekend. Today is Wednesday. We've already got a ton. Okay, so here's some different size suckers we've got going on here. So there's one. That's a regular medium-sized one. Then we got one right here. It's kind of a small one. Okay, now here is a tiny, tiny one. That needs to come. We got another little tiny one. See the stem, the branch, and the sucker. So this is an example of a split that I did not catch. You can see here where the main stem split off into two. And I didn't catch it, so it has grown up. And now I have two tomato plants. So when you have a tomato plant that is split, and if you catch it soon enough, you're gonna have to choose which one you want to be a stem. And that's not something I can tell you to do. You're just gonna have to choose left or right, red pill, blue pill. If you don't catch it like I did, and you got tomato blooms on there, just keep loving on the plant. Here is an example of when I accidentally clipped the stem instead of the sucker. We've still got tomatoes on it though. So in the 5 minutes it's taken us to just walk through the rows of tomato plants, this is as many suckers as we've got off. And like I said, I come through here every few days and looking for them. It's super easy to miss a sucker. As you can see by some of the big ones that we've plucked off, it's not hard to do. And they grow super fast. So where it might be one of those little bitty tiny ones, like this one, can turn into something like this one in just a matter of a few days. This tomato plant right here on Sunday, before we had hard rain, was about the size where those tomato plants are, where those tomatoes are right now. Since the weekend, it has grown that much. So it just goes to show you, tomato plants are very hardy. They grow quickly, and if not kept under control, they will grow wild. Last year, our tomato section of our garden was an absolute jungle. We didn't get as many tomatoes as we wanted because I didn't trim off the suckers. So the plant was spending a lot of energy to growing off other tomato plants, essentially, instead of giving us fruit. So that's why it's so important to trim those tomato plants, because you want as much fruit as possible. This year we have way more fruit, and I wholly believe that it is from me properly and consecutively trimming the tomato plants every few days. So if you haven't started trimming your tomatoes, you need to start doing so. Go through, use your nails if you want to, like me, because this is what my fingers look like all the time. Get you a pair of scissors, spend a few minutes out in the sun with your tomatoes, and trim them up. I hope this was helpful. If you have any questions, give me a comment. Tara, honey, this one's for you. I love you, and we will see y'all next time.